That's my baby. I'm dying.
That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Left, feet left.
What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah. What the fuck are you talking about?
What is going on, you guys? It is your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and I am joined, as always, by my guy Brandon. And it is Philly the podcast on A2D. That's so long-winded. That's such a long-winded intro to it now.
Hey.
But shout out to my guy Tom. Shout out to the whole A2D family. We are back. Saturdays at 1:00 is ours, and we are not going anywhere. Shout out to our sponsor, Body Check Wellness, a line of products that promote wellness, balance, and recovery by using full potential hemp. They come in extracts, blends, gummies, and topicals. You can use promo code A2D for 20% off your order at bodycheckwellness.com. Brandon, what is going on, my man? It's another day, another dollar, another day, another dollar. Oh, it's raining out there?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. See, I got beautiful weather. It's like 80 out here. I might end up by the pool pretty soon. I'm living a good life, but that's not what they want to hear about. That's not what they want to hear about. So, obviously, recently on Twitter, Jalen Reagor and Travis Fulgham had a little back and forth, and they, Travis Fulgham said, "I ain't worried about this offense," right? Jalen Reagor was like, "At all." So, of course, I had to make a meme with them in some quicksand because that's kind of how I'm feeling right now. But before we get too deep into the conversation of it, but how do you feel? We'll start here. How do you feel about Fulgham making a statement on there? We'll start bare bones. Like, how, him saying that, how does that make you feel?
It's cool, I guess, to show some confidence into a fan base that is very worried that this is going to be if this season before was already depressing, next season is probably going to be just as depressing, if not more, with the new staff and everything. At least this past season, we had the hope of maybe making the playoffs because their division was so bad. But if the other teams start to play well and then we continue to stink with a new head coach, new coaching staff, and everything, this season can just be just as depressing. So a little bit of hope coming from the players is nice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy you're happy. I'm happy you're confident that you think that, you ain't worried. But, man, we worried, man. I'm worried. Look, yeah. I've said, future-wise, I'm not too worried. I feel like we have a young core, and I think that's something that's at least promising. At least we can look forward, and possibly that's there's some silver lining there. But, I can't. I don't want you to give bulletin boards material to people this early, especially when we're going through so much turmoil. I know I was one to say that Carson Wentz should have said something, and should have came out. So maybe I shouldn't be saying that. He shouldn't be saying anything. But I don't know. It just feels like last year was ugly, especially for Reagor and Fulgham. Fulgham had a good couple games and everything, but after that, he kind of faded into the background. Whoever's fault that is, it is what it is. But maybe not yet. Maybe at least let's get to camp. You know what I'm saying? Let's get to training camp, see what you're going to be running
on the team before.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. Let's see, because who knows? We might be going and trading or drafting a wide receiver. Reagor, you might not be seeing the field as much as you thought you might be. So I don't know. If this was Jalen Hurts saying it, it hits a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Hurts saying it to me. It's like, all right. My quarterback's hype. That's what I want to hear. But, I don't know.
I guess it's no different than like a Duke Riley putting on Twitter like, oh, he wants to win a Super Bowl. He wants another one of those things. And stuff like that. And I get it. You just kind of go on and you just want to kind of hype up people. But, like we just said, we don't even know if Fulgham will literally be on the team next year. And even if they are, if I'm being optimistic, I think these young guys can do well. I think that we do have some players, and they weren't used to their strengths, and they were just caught in a bad season, caught in bad play calling, caught in bad quarterback play. There was a lot of things going on. I can't take away from them too. they weren't getting as much separation as we'd love. But there are plays where Rager is wide open or open by a couple of steps and the ball is just overthrown. And that's just continuity. That's no OTAs, no training camp, no getting ready, no getting, like I just said, continuity. So there's hope for Rager. I believe that he's going to be used correctly. I think he's going to be used in short game and wide receiver screen, stuff like that, stuff that he can get into the open field and get open. And then for Fulgham's sake, if he is back, then he doesn't really have anyone coming for his spot per se, unless, like you said, we draft a Jamar Chase or something. Like if we draft a wide receiver, then Fulgham's going to need to work. But he's not worried about JJ Arcega-Whiteside. At least I don't think he should be. And then with Alshon going to be gone, D-Jack's gone. I think Goodwin's going to – I don't even think we're bringing him back. Maybe they will. I don't know. So there's going to be opportunities for these young guys to really work hard this offseason and earn a starting spot on this team.
Yeah, and you know, to everybody's point, everybody in the comments now are going crazy. Like, they better bring him back. They better bring Fulgham back. You know, I think they will. We have exclusive rights to him, so I don't see why we wouldn't. He probably will be cheap, you know, and that's, you know, music to Eagles' ears right now because we have no money. In case you guys were wondering, we have no money. So, you know, we need every cheap asset we can keep. We're going to go ahead and keep them. He says Pitts and Goddard with a West Coast offense. What you guys think? I don't want Pitts. I'm going to say that. I personally think that Pitts is getting a little bit hyped up. He's a good. If he's the only, if it goes down to like Chase and Devontae Smith are gone, and he's on the board, it's at 6. I still feel like it's a reach, but I could talk myself into it. You know what I'm saying? Like I think he's the 3rd best wide receiver. I don't think he's the number 1 guy at 6 for me. You know what I'm saying? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Pitts is like. Don't get me wrong. I think Pitts probably is going to have a good career in the NFL. He's athletic. He's fast. He's huge. He's going to be a mismatch nightmare. And I'm sure whatever team gets him, they're going to flourish with him. And people are going to look back like, why didn't the Eagles pick him? Blah blah blah. But like you said, if Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith are there, you're taking one of those guys over Pitts because you're taking a wide receiver, the best at their position in college. If those both players are gone, that means that a guy like maybe Penny Sewell drop back or something like that where we could benefit from bolstering this offensive line or grabbing someone for the defense because in reality, we don't necessarily need to draft a wide receiver. Like, yes, all of us fans want a wide receiver. We want that dominant playmaker for the offense so that guys like Dallas Goedert or guys like Miles Sanders can really flourish so other teams can plan against the other guy. But our defense needs help bad, especially in the secondary and linebackers. You can even say defensive line, as you've been saying, they're aging and they're getting old too. So it's just like we need players on defense. So Pitts, as great as he is, and if we take him, I wouldn't be like super upset where I'm gonna like cry about it. But I just don't feel like the Eagles necessarily need him at number 6.
Yeah, I mean, look, I take the best player at 6, whoever that may be. Take the best player. You know, you're not gonna. If it ends up being Pitts for some reason, then it ends up being. I just don't see how that would happen. But you know, if I want defense. Don't get me wrong, and you know, me and you have went back and forth on what we would do for number 6. There was even a time that we agreed for a little while on linebacker. That was a wild time. What a time to be alive, right? But like, so you know that we had that little period, and I think now it's like I think we maybe agree again. It's like just take the best player you can get, who is going to be a what everybody. I feel like everybody learned this term this off season, and everybody's yelling blue chip. Get your surefire player at 6. That's all you got to do. Before we keep going, I want to shout out to a bunch of people. I actually remember I noticed. So AK Eagles has landed in the building. A whole bunch of people from our channel and some members from our channel, which is Philly the podcast. So if you guys want to go check that out, you might just type Philly in the podcast in once we're done with this show. But that was just a little segue, a little shameless plug. A little shame. Let me fix my Philly the podcast merchandise shirt. that is available in links in my videos. But anyways, let me stop before we're gonna cut to black. Tom's gonna just come on. But so let's get back to the tweet, right? Do you think that this shows confidence in Jalen Hurts, or is it just kind of lip service at this point? But what do you think on that side?
What do you mean by just like the way he's been acting and just
Like
like
no, like with them tweeting this, with them saying I'm not worried about the offense. Do you think that shows confidence in their quarterback, or do you think it's more so them just like kind of talking and
no, I
tweeting
do.
something?
I genuinely think that they are hyped about this. They seem like they were, especially Rager, and this could have easily just been timing because he came back from injury, and by the time Hurts was inserted into the offense, Rager was able to start to warm up a little bit. But he genuinely started to like look like playing. He was playing better and feeling a little bit more confident. And Rager even posted, I think it was on Instagram, a picture of him like slapping hands with Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts reposted it as well. So I can assume that that there is confidence there. They trust Jalen Hurts at this time. I mean, I'm sure whoever their QB1 is, that's who they're going to rock with. But at this moment in time, I believe that they really do believe in Jalen Hurts.
Hey, and
It
that's
got me somewhat believing in Jalen Hurts. I mean, like
I
we
hope
all know,
Jalen
we
Hurts is a
all
good
haven't
guy.
seen much film on him in the NFL because he only had a limited amount of games. But I'll keep preaching the fact that this kid came in and wasn't terrible with all the circumstances that were against him, with Carson Wentz breathing down his back, with bad play calling, with just all this pressure to know that if I mess up bad, this is it for me. Everyone's going to think of me as if maybe he should have been drafted in the 5th round or something, and he's literally a backup. So I think Jalen Hurts presented well. He wasn't perfect by any means, but if they have faith in him, I low-key kind of pretty much have faith in him as well.
Right. And shout out to all the A2D people in there talking junk about email gate. Yeah, I sent in my email for this show like literally like 20 minutes before the show. So shout out to them for that, going crazy. I mean, I'm wondering, I'm sitting here wondering why I'm getting phone calls and all this stuff. I'm like, what do people hit me up for? It's Saturday. Oh, it's Saturday. That's it. But yeah, no, I think that, look, I think it has to give you some type of confidence in your quarterback, right? And as a quarterback, you got to look at that and be like, my dogs, like he said, my dogs. You got to be like, all right, my dudes is repping for me. You know what I'm saying? They out here repping for me. So that has to look good. That has to bode well for your confidence. That'll all be probably smashed by draft night. But for now, hopefully it makes you feel good. Now, I see a comment in here saying Matt Spillane. Can you bring that one up? That says hype about a QB that has a noodle arm. Okay. I mean, I don't get the hate. I just don't get the hate.
Yes, the noodle. You can say noodle arm because we've seen a couple of those out routes. I feel like those were the key ones that just looked like bad throws where they should have been intercepted. Hurts probably should have had at least 2 to 3 more interceptions this at the end of those games. They were just dropped. It is what it is. That's the name of the NFL. I'm sure Brady or whoever could have had some more interceptions, but they're dropped. The cornerbacks aren't wide receivers for a reason. They're the guys who can run but can't catch. But to say that he has a noodle arm, I can't agree with that. He made some big throws in his short time playing. This is like
that's
the
the
one
thing. Yeah.
to Deshaun Jackson was a perfect throw, or to Rager against the Packers, I believe it was. That was a perfect throw, and you need arm strength to throw that far.
Exactly. Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. That's all I wanted to say. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's not out here Patrick Mahomes in it. He's not Jamarcus Russell throwing 60 yards from his knee. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. There's levels to this, but he doesn't have a noodle arm. He's not out here flailing it. He's not out here throwing 15 touchdowns in clean pockets. I don't know who that is, but it sounds like a Carson Wentz. Anyways, but you know what I'm saying? Like, let's not hate on the man that's here. Let's get it right. He made some great throws, like you said. He made some timely throws, some great throws, and he'll learn. It is what it is. He'll learn. I'm starting to be a little bit too much of a Jalen Hurts fan right now. But on the flip side of it, what type of pressure do you think this puts on Jalen Hurts now that the team is showing confidence in you? You might actually be the starter. What do you think is going through his head as far as the pressure?
I think no matter which way the team goes, between drafting a quarterback or not, you're still going to have enormous pressure. we traded away Carson Wentz this season. Carson Wentz was the guy that everyone in Philly and Philly Nation thought that was going to be the franchise quarterback, and now he's gone. So you're going to have to follow that up. You're going to have to play well in a year where everyone's expecting it to be a down year. This is a year to show progression, to show that you don't have a noodle arm. To not only that, but if they draft a quarterback, now you really got to show out so then you don't lose your chance. You don't lose your spot. So there is a lot of pressure on Jalen Hurts this season, and for if anything, the next 2 seasons.
Yeah, facts. Philly 52 said McNabb ate tons of noodles. No, he ate chunky soup. That's different. He ate chunky soup. That's totally different. No, I think that you have to have pressure. There has to be some type of pressure on you, or else you'll never grow. I think this is the type of kid that's continuously seen pressure, and had to continuously fight through it. You could look through his whole college career. I know I've gotten on lives with people and had arguments over him running from competition, which is like the weirdest narrative I've ever heard as far as especially college football.
Right. I think I was part of that train for a hot second, just to kind of be combative and try to argue with you. I think at one point, but I didn't really truly believe that. College players, they do that every day. That's just a thing that they do in order to try to make it to the next level. You're not going to be Mac Jones, who sits for 3 years, gets 1 year to starting, and for some reason is now a top 5 candidate, quarterback candidate. So no one really can do that. And so, yeah, they transfer so they can get an opportunity. And it's not like he transferred to a bad place and was showing out. This guy transferred to Oklahoma, which is another SEC top school.
Shoot, Trevor Lawrence transferred. Who else transferred? Justin Fields transferred.
Uh-oh.
Zach Wilson didn't. But Zach Wilson ran away from Zach Wilson. Look, I like Zach Wilson as an arm, but Zach Wilson ran away from Utah. That's where he was supposed to go. He was supposed to be a Utah Ute. He didn't want to go because they had a 2018 prospect. That's corny. That's corny to me. So people are gonna overlook that. We gotta overlook everything, right? Like you said, Mac Jones, I mean, it is what it is. I don't understand how Mac Jones has gotten so high up on boards. I think he's a good quarterback, and I think he is probably the 5th best quarterback. But I don't think the 5th best quarterback is a first-round quarterback
he just
now.
has connections, it's all about who you know.
I could see him going to the Patriots. I could see I think the Patriots would fit what he does. I think maybe the Steelers could fit what he does. But you got to be a team even the Patriots don't make sense because you really got to be a team that's willing to just kind of wait. And it's the same thing with Trey Lance, kind of maybe Trey Lance is ready to go out right now. You know what I'm saying? But I think you got to wait a year on him. So I mean, I don't know all these quarterbacks. So that brings me to this question. I want to ask you this because everybody keeps asking me this and everybody keeps bringing this up. Where would you rank Jalen Hurts among these quarterbacks right now if he was a prospect coming into the NFL? And we were looking at quarterback. We had no quarterback on our roster. Where would you rank Jalen Hurts at?
I would probably put him. I'm still putting Trevor Lawrence first. Trevor Lawrence has been talked about throughout his whole college career. The kid has the record, the numbers, everything to show for it. He's just one of those talents that it's going to be hard to pass up on. And if he flames out in the NFL, it is what it is. You're not going to go wrong by taking him number 1. And then, I mean, Jalen Hurts, maybe at the 3 spot, you can put, like you said, with the Wilson, I don't know if I'm sold on him. I may put Fields ahead of Hurts and then put Hurts and then put Wilson. But that's just my perspective. What's your thoughts on that? What was your...
it's hard. I'd put him around 3rd. I would probably... if we were gonna draft a quarterback, I would probably put Wilson ahead of him just off of straight up talent, just straight arm talent. AK Eagle says Lawrence, Wilson, Lance, Hurts, Fields. So he got him at 5. No, you got him at 4. You think Hurts is better than Fields? I think Hurts is like a poor man's Fields. Real talk. I think and I'm not saying that in a bad way. I think Hurts is very accurate, just like Fields is. They're both obviously pretty agile and athletic, but yeah, he doesn't have the arm that Fields does, and he's not the pure quarterback that Fields is. So I would put him out. I'll put Trevor Lawrence, then I would put Justin Fields, then I would put. I said all right, like I had it all planned out, but it's hard. Like I would probably put Justin Fields and maybe. Do I put Zach Wilson ahead of him? I would put Zach Wilson, and then I would put Hurts, and then I would put Trey Lance. But realistically, the difference between Hurts and Lance is it's not far off. And I'm probably saying that just because I've seen Hurts. You know what I'm saying? Like Lance could be great.
There's something that also holds weight. Obviously, these players, no matter what, they can come into the NFL, and the one player that you thought was going to be the best might be the worst. It is what it is. But when you're ranking these guys, something said like this, the competition level that goes into with these factors, and it is what it is. Trey Lance may be better than all the quarterbacks on this, but the fact that a guy like Jalen Hurts played both for Alabama and Oklahoma, they're typically better competition than the 1 year that Trey Lance had at North Dakota State.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that the competition is starting to even out, especially down there, because North Dakota State they don't lose. Like they so it is getting better, and they basically are like. You ever seen the One Chance U thing or Last Chance U?
I have.
It's like a junior college type deal, whatever, where people go, and that's basically what the Bisons have become. They get like a lot because I mean, like I said, they had what's his name, the Jabril Cox went there. They've had some really good talent. So I get what you're saying, definitely. But I mean, I think the numbers speak for itself with Trey Lance. That boy is a dog.
Those numbers are crazy.
Yeah, that boy is a dog, man. I mean, so what do you think? What do you think like about the rest of the offense? How much pressure does this put on the rest of the offenses? Are they going to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, because at the end of the day, you got to go out there and ball. Like you said, it's on Hurts, but it's on the rest of these boys too. They got to go out there and put some numbers up.
Right. I think if we're talking the most pressure, I think the most pressure right now is going to be on the offensive line as a unit. It's how can you guys hold yourself to be healthy? Can you try to do different things, wear knee braces, I don't know, anything to help try to enhance your ability to stay healthy, the workouts, and just being good. I mean, I feel like they have the most pressure. Miles Sanders, we know what he can do. Yeah, he needs to work on maybe his fumbling, but that's not as bad as how the offensive line was, and the fact that we couldn't keep a single variation out there for consecutive weeks. I think that's going to be the biggest pressure, because if we can have a good offensive line or a better one than last year, I don't care who our receivers are. They're going to have enough chance, enough time, we can do play action and stuff without worrying that we're going to get sacked or that Hurts is going to have to run for his life every other play. So I think the offensive line outside of Hurts has a lot of pressure this coming up season.
Facts, yeah, hey, man, and our coach guys, talk about pressure. If it wasn't Philly, I think we would be okay, because it's crazy, because like we all know we're gonna be bad, right? And Evil Eagle, I got this from Lids, I think. My ex got it for me, if I'm being 100% honest, but I'm pretty sure she got it from Lids. But what's it called? I think we all know as Eagles fans that we're gonna have a pretty rough season. Like, it's not gonna be beautiful. We might get lucky and we might be great. Who knows? You know, I'm not saying that we can't, but it's going to be a rough season. It's not going to be the prettiest of seasons. But we aren't going to be okay with that. Like, every time we lose, we are going to be pissed like we are a Super Bowl contending team. You know what I'm saying? So no matter what, it's going to be nothing but pressure out here. So have fun with it, I guess. Like, and that's another thing you got to take in. That's another thing you got to take into account when you're looking at these quarterbacks is can they handle being out here, man? Because Zach Wilson's from Utah. He was the former runner-up for Mr. Utah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you think and I hate to keep saying this because I feel like such a jerk saying it, but man, his mom was crying in that little like 5-10 minute caption thing they did about him because they were making fun of him in Utah. You think Philly's nicer than Utah? Like, come on, bro. Like,
come on.
That's not gonna work. That's just not gonna work. So that's something you have to keep in your mind. You know what I'm saying? Look at and it goes with Trey Lance too. I mean, North Dakota is not freaking Detroit. You know what I'm saying? You're coming from somewhere that's totally different from Philly. You know what I'm saying? Philly is crazy. So
Carson Wentz got the treatment, and now he's going back to the smaller market.
exactly. And someone said they don't need pressure on Hurts. If you believe he is your guy, then pressure is unnecessary. How many QBs in the NFL have been breathing down their back every year? This is why Wentz left. Wentz left because he's a punk. Second of all, this is what I'm going to say. The notion that you do not need a pressure or competition, in my opinion, you tell me if I'm wrong, Brandon, but in my opinion, competition is pressure. Pressure busts pipes, but it also makes diamonds, right? So you have to put pressure on these people, especially in a business type say that's right. The thing you got to understand. This is a competitive business and a competitive sport. So at the end of the day, yes, you have to have competition, and yes, you have to put pressure on these young guys. And it's not saying like nobody's telling you go to his locker every day and like leave a dead horse head or something like that. Nobody's saying that. We're just saying you gotta make sure that they're fighting every practice, every game, every day. That's how it has to be. And if you don't want to do that, you shouldn't probably be in a professional sport, really.
So just to play devil's advocate here and to go off, I think what he's saying is, can you, outside of the only team I can think of is maybe Dallas, with the fact that they signed Andy Dalton as like a security blanket just in case the whole Dak stuff failed and maybe for leverage purposes. But can you name a team where their starting quarterback has competition from the backup? What team?
Every team. Every team. But it doesn't happen because they don't win the job. They don't win that. They don't take the job. If you get hurt, Donovan McNabb gets hurt. Donovan McNabb gets hurt. Two different quarterbacks bring us to the playoffs. That's competition. That's pressure. You got to come back and take your job.
That's
the same thing. That's the same thing.
We never
That's the same thing.
That Jeff Garcia was going to take Donovan McNabb's
He could have. He could have if Donovan McNabb would have folded. If McNabb would have came back before that year, if that year was over, right? And at week 15, when he started seeing Garcia or whoever our quarterback was at the time, bringing us to the playoffs, if he would have been like, oh, I don't want to have to come back and maybe have to, because that's what Wentz did. He said, I don't want to have to come back and probably have to fight this dude for my job. That's what he did. Or I don't like this situation now. Whatever you want to, paint the picture as. That's what happens. So, like, that happens to any quarter. If you get hurt at any time, you are just like that.
I get that, getting hurt, but I'm talking about straight competition. Like, if you throw a couple bad passes, like you're fearing that your job is going to be gone because your team decided to draft or pick up another quarterback that could be a starter in this league. So, like, for instance, like Jared Goff didn't play well. He got hurt. And they couldn't figure out who the backup was going to, like, who was going to start. They had backups who stunk. And it was with a bunch of other teams around the NFL. That's what I'm saying. Can you name someone that was really any of these starting quarterbacks that really had that competition where if they stunk or if they got hurt, they might have lost their job for the rest of the season?
Alex Smith.
What, Dwayne Haskins was going to come in, and then what?
Yeah, Alex Smith. They signed him. They drafted Patrick Mahomes when they had Alex Smith, didn't they?
I'm talking about this year. I'm not talking.
Oh, so now it only matters this year. This is the only year that actually matters now. Don't forget about everything else. Forget about everything else because we want to make sure that Wentz, he had a reason to leave. No, listen. I understand. I 100% understand both sides of it. You don't want to put your any player in a position that they feel uncomfortable to perform. But to me, that's totally different from having competition. You have to be comfortable in uncomfortable positions, especially in the NFL, especially in any sport, man. Any sport, even in this podcast thing, man. Me and you talk junk back in the back. It's not about competition. At the end of the day, we do it because we love it. But it is competition. It is. Like, I see someone else doing great. I want to do great. And it's not hating. It's I want to do great. You know what I'm saying? So I don't get nervous when I see other people doing great. That should make you want to keep doing great. So I say that to say this. If you do not believe in Hurts is your future franchise guy, if you cannot, definitively say that, and you look at Justin Fields or Zach Wilson or whoever it may be at 6, and I reiterate, at 6, do not trade up. At 6, if you want to trade back, that's fine. But did I say at 6?
That's
I
it.
don't know. Okay, so I think I said that. If you look at one of those quarterbacks and you're like, listen, this is the guy. If Nick Sirianni comes to you and he says, look, this is the guy, how many we can't now from last year we were saying how we can't be making all these decisions. But if Nick Sirianni goes up to him and says, listen, I don't want Hurts. I want this guy. You know what I'm saying? Or I want to have the battle between these two. You give him what he wants. Like, I mean, shit.
I agree. I agree with the coach because it's a brand new coach and you want your head coach wants to succeed. They don't want to stink because that's on their name. That's their reputation. That's their resume. So you're going to want to get the guy that you believe in. If this was Doug Peterson coming back for another season and we were still sitting here talking about they still might draft a quarterback at 6 because they traded Carson Wentz, then I'd be even more skeptical. I'd be even more mad about the whole drafting a quarterback because you guys were just together, Doug and Howie, and took Jalen Hurts the previous year. That would be more of a sketchy and dumb situation than I still don't want a quarterback this draft, but I would understand if Nick Sirianni wanted a different quarterback because, I mean, that's just the name of the game. It happens all the time with new head coaches.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was saying. No, but I agree. I mean, look, I've talked myself into it. And I know, like, I've been trying to, like, basically do it the same thing to you, like in our group chats and stuff. But like, I've talked myself into being ready to get a quarterback. You know, like, but you said something before that I agree with. Also, if you do go ahead and get a quarterback, even though he's our only quarterback on the roster, should you go ahead and look at trading Jalen Hurts? Is that the next obvious thing, or do you just keep them both? Like it becomes such a because I feel like people say quarterback controversy so like willy-nilly. Like people will be like, oh, if you bring a quarterback, it's gonna be a quarterback controversy. For me, I'm okay with a quarterback controversy as long as we get a quarterback out of it. You know, with this situation, we didn't necessarily get a quarterback out of it. You know, like if we knew Jalen Hurts was that guy, okay, whatever. It sucks that, it happened with Wentz, but hey, we got our guy. You know, like, so if we go into next year and, we know, hey, Trey Lance is our guy. We know we got our guy. And F it, man, whatever. Let's just go one more controversy and get it over with. Get the controversy monkey off our back. Just get your quarterback. If that's the itch you need to scratch. But what do you think about that? Do you think that we should just go ahead and trade him or?
I think if we do go and get up another quarterback, especially early on, you're kind of sending the message to Jalen that maybe you're not the future of this team. That could all change depending the play, depending on practice, depending on preseason, depending if Jalen loses the job, the starter gets hurt, Jalen comes in and kills it. There's obviously different variables. I think that unless you get a really good offer for Jalen Hurts, especially this coming up season where, like you said, we don't have any other quarterbacks on the roster, I think you can keep them and rock with a young quarterback room and really develop them. And maybe even if you don't believe Jalen is that guy, maybe you can develop him so then he can become trade value and then you can let him go be the guy somewhere else. I mean, not every young guy that comes into the NFL is an automatic starter in this league. Some players do need time to develop, and maybe Jalen Hurts is that guy. I don't know. I mean, we need more sample size. We saw Jalen Hurts' preseason essentially last year. That was pretty much it. Was preseason game, and his best game was against the Saints and the Cardinals. And then he gets pulled. So we obviously are going to need more to see. But I don't. If you get a good deal for him, then sure. But if you know that you're in cap hell and you're not going to be able to just sign people here and there, then you got to go with the cheap contracts, and that would be 2 young quarterbacks.
Yeah, shout out to Philly 52. He says, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none.
If you have 2 starting caliber that you're battling with, sure, but every roster has at least like 2 or 3.
We have none right now. We have one. We have one quarterback that none of us know what the hell he is. I mean, it's funny though because we hear it all the time. We hear everybody arguing back and forth. So it's always like people use the 4 games. They use that argument to their advantage and to the when it's not against. So like you'll be like, oh, we don't know what he is. He only had 4 games, but on the same time, it's like, but we don't know what he is, so we gotta get So it's like it works both ways. I don't freaking know. I just want it to be over with at this point. Like I just want the drama and the, just get it over with. Pick somebody and like actually have their back. Like go forward with that.
Right.
Like it's just so annoying that it's like this is still a thing. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? It's just
And then the fact that if Howie makes a comment that, oh, we don't want it to be another Russell Wilson situation. So if you're comparing him to Russell Wilson, then why are we trying to, like, quote unquote, and yeah, like you said, competition's good. Just saying we're going to bring in competition doesn't necessarily mean we're bringing in someone to take a spot. But if us fans know that there's like this weird vibe around the word competition in Philly right now, as a GM, you got to know this. You got to feel the room, feel the atmosphere. And so he needs to pick his words better if he believes that maybe he can be the next Russell Wilson, or that was just kind of just saying that just to make us fans feel better in some weird way.
yeah. I mean, he also said QB factory. He hates that word now. So
Yeah.
it's like this whole season, you know, from press conferences. I don't know. It's maybe because we're like paying more attention as my dog goes crazy. I don't know if it's because we're paying more attention now, or if it's like just because it all actually is happening now. But like, I feel like they just forgot how to do press conferences. I think they forgot how this works. Like, you know, everything that we gloated about in 2018, you know, going into the 2018 season about our team, ugly. Everything is like the total opposite. You know what I'm saying? Like he says, I feel like the offseason is going to be an absolute roller coaster. I feel like we're on the roller coaster right now. We just get into the ascent. Like, you know, when it's like you get into the top, that's where we're at right now. I feel like we haven't even hit the loop-de-loops yet. Like it's only going to get crazier because the new league year starts.
Once that free agent starts and the draft and cutting players by June 1st or before June 1st or whatever, it's gonna be a crazy time in Philly. Gives us content to talk about, though. Hey.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I want to talk about winning. I want to talk about winning, Brandon.
To kind of bring it back to the wide receivers and the original question, should the Eagles be worried about this offense? Are you concerned that right now, as we speak, obviously before free agency, that we don't really have a veteran wide receiver at this time in that wide receiver room?
Yeah, and yes and no. I mean, I've heard like that Djax might come back on like a 2 million one, you know, whatever the minimum is. Heard he might be doing something like that just to have one more year in him. If we do something like that, I would be happy. I do want a vet. If we keep Marquise Goodwin, you know, he's still on contract. Maybe, you know, is Greg Ward a vet? You know, at this point,
I guess he technically,
you know, at this point, you kind of hope that he's a vet, right? You know, I don't know. I don't want an old guy. I don't want I don't think we really need one right now. You know, to be honest, I don't think we really need one. I think the guys that we have are good enough at that aspect. You know what I'm saying? Especially like a Greg Ward. Even a Travis Fulgham. I mean, Travis Fulgham's been in the league for like 3-4 years now. I think this will be his 4th year going on. It's not that, but he's been in the league long enough to know what the hell he's got to do. You know, and he's not one of those character issue type guys. And I don't think we really have any of those type of guys like that. You really need a vet to kind of calm them down. You know what I'm saying? So to learn from, yes, I would love to see somebody like a Deshaun Jackson back to kind of teach people like John Hightower, Jalen Reagor a little bit. You know, I'm sure he could drop some gems on them, but do we need him? Nah, I don't think we need, you know,
like an Allen
like
Robinson or something. Would you be
different
with that?
That's not a vet. That's a baller. He's a baller. That's different. See, you have to explain what vet means a little bit then, because we wouldn't be able to afford him, to be honest. When you say vet to me, I'm thinking like a older guy that, you know, is going to be on a cheaper contract, you know, like a vet, like an older guy. That's really what I think. When I think A-Rob, I'm thinking, bro, you better go put some money in that bank, because the main reason he wants to leave Chicago, I mean, other than the terrible quarterback play, is money. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's been with terrible quarterbacks his whole life, though. Not his whole life. I won't say that. You know, shout out to Penn State. I'm a big Penn State fan. You know, Trace McSorley wasn't a GOAT. He wasn't the greatest passer in the world, but he was all right. But either way, he's been with Blake Bortles to Mitch Trubisky. You know, I mean, like the best quarterback he's probably had is Nick Foles. So, you know, like I would love to see him in Philadelphia. I'm not saying that we have Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, but I mean, Jalen Hurts to me is way better than a freaking Mitchell Trubisky. I still don't know how he made the NFL, but he is here. So, but yeah, I think if we can grab somebody like that, if that's what you mean by vets, I would love that. But yeah, I'm thinking more vets along the line of like
You're thinking
affordable, cheap.
mentor type bet.
Yeah. I'm
that.
thinking more cheap, affordable. But let me ask you this: like, what do you think? We always keep saying like what drafting a quarterback says to the quarterback room. What does drafting a wide receiver say to the wide receiver room? I mean, if we say we have confidence in people like Jalen Reagor, Hightower, Quez Walk, I mean, we got a lot of wide receivers last year, right?
That's
so
true.
That's
why I wouldn't be surprised if everything worked out to where Jamar Chase and Devontae Smith are there, and then we went ahead and just completely ignored them. I wouldn't be surprised about that, to be honest, because like you said, we took so many wide receivers last year, and we were just talking to another guy yesterday that he's a Chargers fan and he does a Chargers podcast, and he was saying how he didn't want to take another wide receiver in the first round after they took Mike Williams 3 years ago. Like there's a 3-year gap, and he still doesn't want to draft a wide receiver in the first. And we're talking about grabbing another wide receiver early in this draft when we took about 3 last year. So it's tough. What would it say? It'd say you guys ain't good enough. No, I don't know. It says that there's generational talents. I mean, you can put that to any position, really. I mean, I know that. I guess because we're saying we have somewhat confidence in these guys, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I feel like it's different. I feel like you can still
because it's not Jalen Hurts.
No, there's one quarterback. There's only one quarterback. You can go out there with 3 wide receivers, 4 wide receivers. Like you have a chance to get on the field if there's another wide receiver that comes on board. So that competition, that working harder, that only benefits everyone else because you still have a chance to get out there. Quarterbacks, there's only one. You ain't putting 2. They did 2 last year. That sucked. It was terrible. I hated it every time. Yeah, Wentz blocking and no one knew it. Everyone knew Wentz wasn't getting the ball. I think maybe one time they did like a flea flicker type play, and other than that, it was just dumb. So that's my point about that.
Yeah, I don't know where that playbook came for Doug. So shout out to him, man. And then everybody keeps saying Pitts too. Let's keep this going. We're gonna keep asking about feelings. Let's keep asking about feelings. So if we draft Pitts, what does that say to Goddard? We're about to have to pay Goddard pretty damn soon too. Well, I mean, if we draft Pitts, that's a double right there. What does that say to Goddard, and what does that say to both of them? You can do both, right?
Just because you draft Pitts doesn't mean Goddard's going to start.
You draft a number 6 pick. You take a tight end, and you're telling me, it's because of two tight end sets.
Yes, sir.
That's where we going, Brandon. That's where we going, Brandon.
You're gonna start Pitts over. I mean, I think Goddard has earned that spot.
We're giving. I think Goddard earned that spot definitely, but so we would give someone who was drafted at number 2 the pass on getting upset that someone was drafted at his position in the 2nd round, right? But we would say it's okay because of 2 tight end sets. When someone is drafted in the 2nd round,
bro,
would probably get mad because you just drafted someone at number 6.
More than one tight end that can play. Only one.
I'm just saying. That's I don't know. Perception.
I hear.
Word of the day: perception.
I don't. But I get what you're saying, but I still get what I'm saying because.
I feel you. I got to play devil's advocate. I mean. Take the best player. When I was the beginning of this offseason, when me and you first started really talking about the offseason, so like week 5, I was really on the train of like, don't keep on putting, assets into the wide receiver position. I've obviously, come along as the time has gone and just take the best player. I don't care where he plays at this point. Like, listen, shout out to Jimmy Morrissey. We interviewed him, you know what I'm saying, on the channel. If he's the best player in your eyes, go ahead and I don't care. I don't care at this point. Just don't take nobody. Don't take Mac Jones. Don't take a kicker. Don't take nothing like stupid. Just take the obvious pick.
Be honest, we need a kicker.
Yeah, we do need a kicker. So I mean, listen, man. We make jokes about Fuller, but If we could get her on this squad, Jake Elliott is garbage. I don't know what's up with Jake Elliott. What if he starts kicking better now that Doug Peterson is gone? What if Doug Peterson was that much of a
Bro,
like?
it could happen. I mean, everyone's saying he wasn't able to get into rhythm. I mean, I don't know if I really agree with that because I mean, what the hell is he doing all week? I mean, he should be kicking balls all week in order to get into rhythm. But I get the game day pressure, the pressure of I need to go out there. If I make this one, you get the jitters out of you. But then if you're only asked to come in randomly at different points where we keep going for fourth downs, where we keep going for 2-point conversions, we're leading the league and going for 2-point conversions. You don't get the chance to really get out there and get it out of your system. But that being said, he was missing chip shots. This guy he missed an old school extra point. That's just blasphemous. Like
and he missed it. He missed it wide to the wide side. Like, does that make sense? Well, like he was kicking it from the right hash, and it was to the left of him, obviously, right? And he missed it to the left. So you kicked it like mad far on the left.
It's like you're playing Madden and it lagged, and you end up going all the way down. You're just sitting there like, oh, what the hell? Like,
exactly. Shout out to AK Eagles. Shout out to AK Eagles because this I agree with, and this you can attest to this. I've said this plenty of times. If Kyle Pitts goes out there and runs anything under a 4.5, all right, sign me up. He could be a wide receiver. Sign me up. Sign me up. That would be probably the one thing. I just don't think he will, and I think he's big. I think we all look at the measurables that we have right now. And realistically, even if he does run a 4.4, I don't know if I'm even going to believe that with these weird ass pro days that they're going to have with the scouting combine. It's going to be
unofficial and stuff, and can be
it's like how do you really know what we're going to see? I forget who said it, but was it? It might have been the Chargers guy again. That was like you're going to see offensive linemen running 4.5s this year. Like it's everybody's going to have their best time.
And the 40 time is cool and all, and don't get me wrong, but I saw some stats somewhere where like all the top wide receivers in the league all ran around like 4.5, 4.6. Like they weren't the 4.2 guys that everyone's like drooling over, but they just because you can run straight fast doesn't mean that you can get in and out of breaks. Doesn't mean you can read the defense and sit in the pocket and all that kind of stuff. So film. I think that's another thing we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks is film's important. Watching the football film, the way that they move playing football is a lot more valuable than saying, dang, that big dude ran a 4.3. Oh, we got to get him. But then he doesn't find the pockets in the defense. He doesn't settle down. He doesn't know what to do when the quarterback's scrambling. He doesn't understand the playbook. He's another Dorial Green Beckham or something. I don't know. Like those are, I'm not saying that he is, but those are things you got to look at outside of just the specifications, like you were just saying.
Facts. And San8 says Pitts gave Bama 129 and a touchdown. That's pretty nice. I mean, shoot, I could go out there and get Bama 129 and a touchdown. I say that like that's not much good at that. I mean, look, Pitts is good. Pitts is very good. He's another one that I think he played like a year and a half or something like that. Don't quote me on that. He's also very young. Who knows? I don't know what any of these guys are going to be, but we don't either. And if our front office goes off just size, strength, and like those type of measurables and the scouting combine, don't be surprised if we go after like somebody dumb like Gregory Roche or something like that from Miami, just because he's like 6'4", he's like 400 feet tall and can run a 4.5 like that. That's the type of stuff we'll do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This dude says, I was like, wait, what? I just saw somebody say reported, and then that's. Don't read that. Don't read that, Rob. Don't put that one up. Don't put that one up. So let's get to the question. Let's actually answer the question before we get out of here. Should they be worried? Should these Eagles players be worried about this offense?
Yeah.
Damn, yeah. I didn't even do my whole.
They do need to be worried. I mean, at the end of the day, we still have a new coach, a new system. These are young guys. Some guys, they were able to get open, but dropping big passes like Hightower. Watkins barely got to play. And he had like his one nice wide receiver screen that did like a spin move, and it was a run up the field. Like, some of these guys had some decent plays, but nothing was consistent all year. So, yes, this offense needs to be worried. And like I said, I think a lot of pressure. I know we put it on the quarterback, but it's this offensive line. This offensive line as a unit has a lot of pressure, and that's part of the offense. That's the key of this offense. And if they're not healthy or if they stink it up this year because of just not playing for a while, then we're going to be in a heap of trouble.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I think everybody should be players, front office. I think everybody should be worried about this. You know, fans, everybody get worried, stay worried until they give us some type of clarification on what's going to happen or some reason not to be worried. Be worried, be very worried, because I mean, we still have Howie here. We still have Jeffrey. Obviously, Jeffrey's not going nowhere. So until they're gone, those are our main decision makers. Those are the guys that are going to have the final say. So it is what it is. Until they prove to us that they're willing to change what they do, I say be worried, be freaking worried.
So I have a question. It's kind of like it has really much nothing to do with this at all. But I was like, we got 10 minutes left, and maybe people in the comments can give me their opinion on it. But I was just driving earlier today, and I was thinking, wouldn't it be kind of cool, like for like the 7th round pick, where it became like kind of like the fans got to vote for the player, like the team would put like their top 3 choices, and the fans got to vote for that player, and that player was picked in the 7th round or something.
They would never do that.
I know
that man makes about $300,000. If that would be dope, don't get me wrong, that would be fire. But that man makes like $300,000. I don't think they're gonna put a $300,000 decision into the hands of the fans. That would be fire, though. That would be fire. I mean, hey, if you come on over to Philly the podcast, we do live drafts all the time, and you can make the decision from 1 to 7. So I mean, plug talk. But no, that would be dope. That would be really cool. I think they need it. You know what they need to add? If we're gonna start adding stuff, they need to add. Wait for 1 second. They need to add. What's it called? You ever seen in Dallas? They have like that. You can take a virtual picture with the players. Like they walk up to you. I think they have it in Baltimore too. That you can it's like a photo booth, and the virtual player like walks up to you. That's what they need to add into the line. I don't know if they got it, but that would be dope. That would be really dope. So, all right, let's read some of these. Let's read some of these real quick before we go. We still got a little bit of time. Yeah, well, how did I ruin your Saturday? That's what I need to know. He said we need to do that. Infamous Paco says we need to do that every pick. Trask destroyed Alabama. Yeah, I don't want to try. Well, Trask ran around a lot too. What's good, Eagle Slayer? Trask ran around a lot too. He was in I forget where he started, but I know he was in Florida. I know he was in wherever he is now. So I mean, there's a couple people that ran around.
And
no, I'm thinking of Felipe Franks. Go ahead, my bad.
Is that from Arkansas, I think?
Yeah, Felipe Franks was in Florida for a little while. He was somewhere else before there. But a lot of these people run around.
I would also not be surprised if we get Pitts, because we just got the quarterback coach from Florida. So that could be another in Howie's year, yo, this kid, generational. We need him. If he's there at 6 and everything works out, let's grab him. I could see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, we look at the past, and we have not done it very much. We have not done it. The last skill position player I think we have taken that high at, I want to say it was 4 or something like that, was a tight end. So maybe I'm sure Kyle Pitts would be ecstatic. He's a Philly kid. There's a lot to love about it. There's a lot to love about that pick, but it's do we really need it? Realistically, I still want a linebacker. I still want Micah Parsons. I just have learned to talk myself out of it. I know it's not going to happen, so I'm just whatever. I'm not going to keep on putting myself through this. You said about just being worried. I was starting to look up, and now you brought me back down. It's all right. No, just be excited. We're gonna be all right. Don't be worried. Actually, don't be worried at all. Hey, it's all gonna be okay.
Sometimes if Nick Sirianni says what he said in the press conference, scheme, make it easy for the players to learn, but difficult for the other team to understand. It's like
his interview with Dave Spadaro was good though. He at least I don't think he was as scared. He wasn't as nervous. There was a lot of cuts. As someone that edits a lot of video, you start looking at little stuff and you're like, damn, you guys you guys are cutting a lot. How much times did you have to stop this interview? But I mean, it is what it is. It could have been on either one of them. It could have been on Dave.
But yeah, with good scheme, you can scheme these guys open. You could scheme JJ Arcega-Whiteside open and get him the ball. So, and it's going to come down to a lot on play calling too. There's a lot to look forward to in a sense. It's going to be exciting to see what this team's going to look like post Doug Peterson, post Jim Schwartz. I feel like no one really talks about the defense that much. The fact that everyone all season was on the Jim Schwartz train, and now that he's gone, we really haven't really dived in. Maybe that's next week. Maybe we could talk about the defense next week. But now that he's gone, what's that defense going to look like? What's it going to – are we still going to have wide nine? Like, what's the plan here? Like, things like that. So it's exciting to see in a sense. And obviously if we think it's going to suck, but other than that, I mean, it's like a brand new toy.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of miss Jim Schwartz. The absolute nothingness that he was is. I'm just gonna miss that.
No one talked junk about him. None of the.
That's the thing that he was just he was so him. I feel like over the years, all of our coaching staff, all of the people, they change kind of who they are, especially after the Super Bowl. Jim was just him. He was never gonna change what he was, and God bless him for that. Yeah, he didn't write a book. I wonder what Doug Peterson's doing.
From lion to eagle, Super Bowl journey.
Where the lions lay. I like that one actually. That might be a woo. What do you think Doug Peterson's doing right now? We'll end it there. What do you think Doug Peterson's doing right now?
Oh, that dude's sitting in his recliner. That dude's chilling. He's
laughing.
Yeah, he's
he's getting drunk. He's getting drunk with McNabb right now.
I'm getting paid this next year. Babe,
Facts.
We're chilling. He probably got mad money for his book. I bet mad people bought his book. I don't have it, but I'm sure his book sold well. And that guy, he's chilling. Maybe out in the islands somewhere.
He's probably getting drunk with McNabb right now. That's what I think he's doing. He's at some bar right now watching all this news. Him, Brett Favre, and McNabb are just sitting there writing reports about how all this, everybody hates everybody in Philadelphia.
Speaking of Doug Peterson, I think his son is coming into this draft, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I just saw something like, what if the Eagles drafted his son and he plays college football?
Really? I'm going to have to look into that. That sounds like a good video to look into. But all right. Hey, I can't tell. I don't know how many people were watching because I can't see. But I'm sure there's a lot of you. So I appreciate all of you. I appreciate everybody that, is from Philly, the podcast. I appreciate everybody that's from A2D. Thank you for letting us on every Saturday. This was a lot of fun. We'll be back next Saturday. And like I said, if you want to come check us out, come to Philly, the podcast. And we be killing it, son. We be killing it, son. But you got anything you want to say before we get out of here, Brandon?
No, man. Just come to Philly if you like us, or just come every Saturday here. We're here.
Now, don't come if you like us. Even if you don't like us, come on over and let me know. Hey, there's no way. Trust me, when I have this beanie off, my hair, wait till I get the visor out. That's what it is. That's what it is, Brandon. Not bad. Anyway, but either way, y'all know what it is, man. It is Fly Eagles Fly, and we are out here. Peace.